up? What's up? You know what time it is. Welcome everybody to the Black Side of Liberty. It's your man, Governor Wildstar. That's me, and that's who I am. I appreciate all of my beings of light, art, culture, and knowledge out there for tuning in to this wonderful, extraordinary show that I have lined up for you today. I'm going to be introducing my guest here in just a moment, but first I just want to let anybody and everybody out there know that's watching this to please drop any comments during the broadcast. You know how we do. If you have any questions or comments, I'll be posting those during the broadcast. But yes, talk to me. Let me know you're out there. Let me know you exist. And of course, please definitely spread the word. The audience is definitely growing tremendously thanks to everybody out there that are sharing the videos, sharing my posts. So thank you so much. My YouTube has reached over 25,000 subscribers. It's almost at 25,500. It's just been like going up uncontrollably. So yes, we want more and more people out there to know about Governor Wildstar. We want more and more people out there to be inspired about getting involved with the Liberty Movement, learning about some of these other people involved in it as well, like candidates that I've had on my program so far. So please continue to share, spread the message out there, please. And definitely subscribe if you haven't already, especially on my Governor Wildstar page on Facebook. That is at Governor Wildstar. I'll drop that here for your asses too. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, connect with your boy. Again, let's keep in touch. Let's keep each other informed because that's what this is all about. We can't trust on the mainstream media any longer to keep us in the loop in what's going on. We got to start depending on each other because word of mouth is the most powerful tool and we got to use it to our advantage, okay? And of course, if you would like to, please definitely donate. Every little bit helps. So we got to help this program reach more people. I want to do some advertisements on this show on YouTube and shit. Minimum campaign is about $500, that shit, or whatever. So like I said, every little bit helps. It's going to help us reach more people, not only here in the United States, but all over the world. So donate what you can, governorwildstar.com, all right? So, with no further ado, I want to introduce to all of you out there that are still tuned in through that bit of a rant there, the former Green Party candidate for California Governor, my main green man, Christopher Carlson. What's up?
Hello.
With you, bro? How you
What's
doing?
up, Governor Wildstar?
My man Goober in the house. What's up? Hey, I appreciate you for taking time out of your day to speak with me and join the Black Side of Liberty to talk to some people out there about who you are. So with that being said, if you could please, bro, I know who you are, but tell the people out there, who the hell is Christopher Carlson?
Hi, my name's Chris. My mom was Bethany Davis, still is. I just had my first kid. Wildstar just had his first kid. We're going to kind of raise them as friends. That's the goal. Woo. And I got a little tattoo here that says I got 7,000 votes in the 2018 primary. And my whole platform's more or less been accomplished. Right there. We accomplished my favorite thing, and it wasn't what I expected to accomplish when I set out to campaign because criminal justice reform wasn't like an idea that I had running in. But the more I learned about like incarceration and those sorts of things, we ended up getting suffrage for California felons passed. So if you were a person with a felony in a prison, you can vote in a state election now. And we're trying to set that example for states like Georgia, Florida, so they kind of follow along. And you don't get disenfranchised if you get arrested. So that's one of the things I like.
Yeah, man, we need more people like you actually being active out there and changing the game. You know,
you mean like you?
Well, I'm only a mere reflection of you, my brother. So, and happy Father's Day to you, by the way. I mean,
and to you.
I definitely want to say that. Thank you very much, because like he pointed out, he just had his first child, just like I did. And I do want to talk to you about that also, because, with this whole coronavirus thing that's been going down, a lot of people have been afraid to go to hospitals, first time parents that are skeptical about, going into labor and dealing with the whole medical facilities right now. I've heard stories about parents being forced to vaccinate themselves or their children. I've heard rumors about people having to or being asked to take the coronavirus vaccine as a trial. So with that being said, and also fathers being separated away from their from their mothers to be while they're having their child. So how was it? How was your experience actually having a child during this whole lockdown?
So this thing locked down right when we were supposed to meet her doctor for the first time at the OB's office. And if you were following, the instructions or the logic of the World Health Organization at the time, a lot of places were trying to stay open and just wipe everything down every half hour. And we were at the point where we were kind of trusting what we were being told, and we weren't really confident in the procedures of safety that were being employed at the OBGYN's office. So we went to teleconferences. I tried to get Allie to lock down, but the first thing that kind of stuck with me was they said, don't use cash because cash carries the virus. But no one was talking about wiping down ATM pin pads. And they started this massive grocery panic where everyone all went to the same grocery stores and they all used the same pin pads. And they're supposed to not have been worried at that time. They weren't even encouraging masks. So we went to Costco later than I would have liked to have gone because I'm a little bit of a prepper on the same side. And I was just looking around and if this virus is as bad as they say it is, we're fucked. There's just no way around how fucked we are if all of the parameters of the virus are true. Then they started saying it can live on surfaces for several days. And we got a little more concerned. We stopped seeing people, and my grandma actually died at the very end of April. And we had gone to Disneyland at the beginning of March, which scared the crap out of me. But Allie really wanted to go. And so I was not touching surfaces, hands in my pockets, watching everyone walk around and cough at Disneyland, thinking, now I'm definitely going to die. So I bought into a lot of the fear at the beginning, but by getting that head start, I was able to kind of move through faster and then watch everyone else get more paranoid than I was at a certain point, because I was feeling like either the quarantine was having an effect or people were taking it seriously. Schools started shutting down. And that really stressed out my parents. But coming home from Disneyland, for me, the biggest impact of the virus was I didn't get to spend any time with my grandma in her very last month of life. She went from totally walking, talking fine to signing up for hospice. And 2-3 weeks later, she was gone. And even once she was under the care of my family, we were all concerned because she had family coming in from LA. They were coughing. And so in my very last weeks that I could have visited with my dying grandmother, who was already dying of cancer, and she got a negative test. So she did that to prove things. But after she got that test at the urgent care, I was asleep, and she waited outside my house for a half hour.
Oh, no.
And just totally trying to drop in, figuring it might be one of the last times she's driving. And then I was able to go and make a visit in her backyard with her, but we were all wearing masks and distancing, and just hugging her was scary based on what they had done. So I feel I'm sorry for going on forever, but I feel like they took my time with my grandma away.
I could totally understand why you could feel that way.
At least in the media's place. And now my sisters haven't seen my baby because they're both taking it more seriously than I am now. And I mean, I probably would. I'm still skeptical, but I'm skeptical of myself because there's so much information out there that it's really hard to sift through, except using kind of like your gut at this point.
Right.
So everyone has to kind of find their line.
Yeah. Well, as a new father, you definitely got to be protective of your child. I can understand why you would be. I have been as well. And you're right. You kind of have to use that discernment within to kind of determine what's true and what's not, and see how it resonates with you out of all of the misinformation that's out there being provided. And it is being fear driven. They want you to be afraid. So it's like they've not only done it to you, but they've done it to your, your mate. They've done it to your family members. And so it's caused this ripple effect to where, like you said, it's interrupted relationships, kept and prevented you from connecting with your grandmother, before she passed, keeps your family members from being able to meet this new addition to the family after such a loss. So it's terrible how much of a negative reaction this whole coronavirus lockdown has caused, all based on fear, and it's been propagated by the media. It's been promoted by the government, of course, and they don't want to take responsibility for all of those subtle nuances such as that's made it more difficult for us during this experience. So very sad to hear about your loss, brother, and definitely hope that you get an opportunity to connect with those people in your family despite all of this.
Yeah. It was kind of, and because of all of that too, when we were in the hospital, they asked her to take a test. She'd already been tested. It was painful, so she declined. And then that meant that they were wearing full gear when they came into the room for her, because they just treated her like she had it.
Oh, wow.
But the trick was there were actually other patients with COVID on the floor who were mothers who were giving birth, that these nurses acknowledged they were like going back and forth too. So a lot of the nurses are just kind of like, at this point, they believe that what's going to happen is going to happen. And then we found out in our aftercare, which was prolonged like yours was, from what I understand. They kept drawing it out and drawing it out. Allie is getting an EKG now because her heart rate was 45 beats per minute at her doctor's visit today. And they put her on a whole bunch of blood pressure medicine after the birth because it was very strenuous. And in that aftercare, they were saying that they were in the rooms too. So like everyone in the hospital is just kind of flowing. So there's not really a barrier if there were.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. Yeah, and you would think they'd take more precautions, especially having actual COVID patients on the same floor, on the maternity floor. They didn't make any effort to separate the mothers. It doesn't sound like. So
there was some, but it was, knowing what the
different level.
Yeah.
It should have been a different level, different personnel. If it's as contagious as they make it seem like, and as deadly, then you would think they would want to take extreme precautions. But obviously they, were more lackadaisical about it because they are aware of some truth about it more than we are. But I still want to move along because there's 4 questions that I want to ask you as well. So you went from being in the hospital, having a baby during this whole coronavirus, like you said, right before it all started cracking, and then you get out of the damn hospital, and all of these protests and riots and looting and shit is happening, and you are the heart of all of this shit out there in Sacramento, which is the capital of California, and if you guys don't know about how things were going down in Sacramento, definitely Google it, because after the George Floyd protest kind of kicked into high gear, there was a lot of craziness going on.
The police shot a teenager in the face.
It's ridiculous, yeah. And
nothing used to happen in this city until like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, we also saw that the state troopers moved in. There was a curfew put in place by the Mayor Steinberg. But you went from that environment to this environment. Oh, there she is right there, the superstar.
He chose a bird.
Yes. But so you went from that to this. You got this beautiful, lovely, new life in your hands, and now you have all of this to think about. And my wife and I, we're sort of in that situation ourselves, with all of this craziness. It's like, where can we go to just get away from it all? And you kind of can't. You got to face it head on. And with these protests that have been happening over these police shootings and abuses of authority, racial injustice, this is something that you've been fighting for. I know personally because you actually introduced me to Devontae Clark.
I was gonna bring him up.
Yeah, I got to, man. You're the glue, man.
You introduced me to him more than anything because you called me to that event.
Hey. Well, I wouldn't have known him if it wasn't without this man right here. If you guys don't know who Devontae Clark is, he is the brother of Stephon Clark, black man that was shot and killed in his grandparents' backyard out there in Sacramento.
And we smoked backwoods.
Yeah, he had a cell phone in his hand. Police thought it was a gun, and that's actually what I want to talk to you about, because when it comes to these police shootings, we more than often than not hear about how these people had a background. And even with Devontae, he was mischaracterized in the media, in the news, and he is an asshole. But he's a lovable asshole. We know that from knowing his crazy ass. But more often than not, like I said, when these police shootings happen, like with his brother, they dig into your past and then they try to vilify that person. We see this happen a lot with Black Americans. So why are Black people vilified by they are the people that constructed as we know it and are controlling the reins of power pretty much. So why does it come to when these shootings happen, the news turns around like they were guilty and deserve what was coming to them?
Okay, so there's a little bit of crying. I'm looking down at the screen to the question. I wanted to say my brother was a rioter, and I don't know what to call it. He's white. I was going to make a comparison, like he's Snow White, but he's been to prison and juvenile hall, and he didn't have a father figure in his life. And there's a lot of excuses I could make, but I want to ask him, why does he, knowing what he knows about the world, maybe is he not scared of going back? Is he not scared of taking these liberties or joining those moments? But my family could ask me the same about me smoking weed or anything like that. So I can't blame any other person for anything more than I would blame my brother for getting into the stuff that he does. And that's his background. And I think this is just conjecture, but what I'm working on right now is the idea that everyone casts a story in which they're the heroes. And if you're going to be casting yourself as the most sane or the most rational person in a room, you're going to act like you know more than everyone else, or you are more clear than everyone else, which is going to make everyone sort of negated in the room around you. They all have to be dumb or crazy or whatever it is for you to be the smartest person. So if you got a white culture that's trying to make something out of their accomplishments or their achievements, they don't need to, but from a storytelling standpoint, they cast themselves as the heroes, which requires there to be some sort of villain or some sort of cause. And on the one hand, to say very little of 400 years of slavery, they act like in Africa, their mission was to civilize people.
Right.
Their mission was to go. And so if Black people weren't the problem from a strength standpoint or anything like that, or just being different, which gave white people something to oppose or something to identify themselves with in contrast, then it was like a charity case for them. It was that like these people are lacking something. So like we have something that these people don't possess.
Mm.
And in this case, it's just we possess a majority in this country. And that's a bad recipe for like any kind of bullying behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, you're going to have everyone who is not a majority in that point is by default a sort of minority outcast.
Yeah.
And
then a way to justify the use of excessive force, because they, by vilifying, like you said, making this villain, everybody else views that as, oh yes, you must go out there, you must do whatever you need to do to, you know, make them more servile, make them more obedient, make them respect the law and order of society. So it's sad that when these killings do happen, they immediately go to, you know, destroy the character, tear them down, and make it seem like they were less than human and deserve that type of treatment. And people openly accept it. They go ahead and regurgitate that information and not even consciously, you know, understand what they're doing. And it's sad that we can allow this to exist as human beings, especially being in a country such as America, where we're supposed to be this beautiful melting pot of harmony and peace.
And that there's so many like ideas about our country that we hold that make us feel better about living here. And like we throw them out as soon as it's convenient. Like diversity as a strength, that's a really important message, and we have to hang on to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets used, and I see a lot of people that don't trust it because something's unfamiliar to them. They're more comfortable in their little circle.
Right.
And they just kind of continue down that road. I don't know. I found in college that like a certain group of people were theater people, and they all hung together. They all had daddy issues. They all had like similar authoritarian childhoods, and some of them came from law enforcement families, and they were using theater as a means to kind of escape. I think in this conversation, it's important to remember too that like everyone who's political is a little bit more authoritarian than everyone who doesn't vote.
Mm.
Because all the people that don't vote already just don't accept participation in that system.
Right.
They renounce it. They might fly a rainbow flag and walk in that like human perspective. But everyone who's talking about voting, we're like the group of people that decided we need a king to rule over us. Right. Or we need the government to rule over people because people are corrupt. And then we need to put people who rule over the government because people are corrupt. And so the government is full of people who are also corrupt. Therefore, government is corrupt. And you got this like spillover. So, you know, I think the common assumption amongst people in the protests and the cops is that people need to be regulated.
I'm glad that you brought up the political part and people using the political system as a way to kind of exact their authority or ideas upon someone else by use of that machine. And you and I, we attempted to do something different during the 2018 gubernatorial campaign, which was we teamed up. You had a Libertarian and a Green Party candidate team up to, I guess, hit the campaign trail together, co-campaign.
Green and gold.
Yeah, we called our sales team Green and Gold. And I guess the challenge that we offered voters was instead of choosing between red and blue, flip the system and choose between green and gold, which, like you said, are better options because they give we the people an opportunity to move away from that authoritarian, dogmatic two-party system that has been in control this entire time. But people, they continue to support it. I've seen people say, or heard people say, I can't stand Trump, but I'm still going to vote for him. I can't stand Biden, but I'm still going to vote for him. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then, you know, the definition of insanity is doing something over and 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 over again. So what is it about the two-party system that people are so addicted to it that they can't let it go, despite them seeing how detrimental it is to them? I mean, it's like a crackhead doing crack, seeing that it's destroying their damn body, destroying their lives, and they still do it. What the hell is wrong with you? Can you try to explain that in some sort of a way for your boy?
There's two ways. Some people pick, especially in my experience with white culture, because we are kind of typically the aggressor. We pick veganism or smaller causes to champion that earn us social disdain, so that we can say we're oppressed, to say we're queer, whatever, like that. That way we take some sort of victim role. And there's one group of people that are like that. And then there's another group of people, I think, who don't want to be victims, don't want to be in a minority, don't want to take off any of their privilege, so to speak, don't want to be different, and they want to have that peer approval. They want to, maybe because they're afraid of the government, put their name down next to the right choices that the government would want to see if they ever looked into their records. Because I've seen the records. Did you access the voter records while you were running?
Yeah, that's the thing, is a lot of people don't even know that shit is readily accessible to every candidate.
The wrong regime rolls in, they look at what you voted for, you might find yourself on the wrong end of a gun, you know? So I'm sure that there's some voter intimidation.
We've seen that happen through administrations where they've seen, them use the IRS to target Tea Party group or Tea Partiers, and go and audit them when they won't even audit multi-billionaires like Apple and Amazon. These multi-billion-dollar companies who skate away from paying millions of dollars in taxes each year. But yet, like you said, they can use these voter rolls to politically target these individuals and destroy their lives in some way. And it's awful that it even exists, but it does. But people, again, they still, whether it's Republican or Democrat, they're programmed in their mind to just respond to only them and then look at somebody else as being an opposer. I'm sure you heard during the campaign trail, oh, I can't vote for you because you're going to take votes away from me, whoever they were going to vote for. And it's like, duh, that's the point of any opponent, is to take votes away from the other guy, whether it's a two-party system like we have now, which in California really has hurt us because a lot of people don't know they can be stuck voting for two candidates of the same party, and that was something that was made law here in the state. But those two-party candidates are never going to oppose it openly when we did. So it's sad that we present a lot of opportunities for people to get away from what they see as a broken system, but they refuse to do it. It's very disheartening.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that I could ask you, and you could probably answer this question. What would happen to the national election outcome if everyone who normally votes Republican in California voted for Libertarian one election?
Right.
Or if half of the people who voted Republican voted Libertarian, or even a third. In California, a third of the Democrats could vote Green, and that would qualify us just about for national ballot access. And it wouldn't have changed the 2016 election. That's 1 in 3 people, and nothing would change.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing would happen was the Greens would get stronger. A lot of people in California don't realize how liberal and a stronghold we are under the Electoral College. None of the votes in 2016 mattered at all.
Mm-hmm.
If Hillary Clinton didn't win the national election, all of the Democratic votes in California were a wash. All the Republican votes in California were a wash. They didn't get counted towards Trump's total, and he still won. So,
and it's crazy because during a state election or local election, you'll have people say, well, I'm more willing to consider a third party candidate because it seems less like a concern, I guess, that somebody locally being a third party representative could be in charge. But when it comes to, a presidential election, hell no, I would never, and it's crazy to see this hypocrisy kind of happen. So, but
I'll let them drive the school bus, but I don't want them teaching my kids.
Exactly right. So damn silly. But I do want to also ask you about that, because with you running as a Green Party candidate, a lot of people don't have an idea of either what the Green Party even offers as a party, or because there are many candidates at all, or politicians and all that are affiliated with the Green Party, they don't have an idea of what a Green Party administration would even look like. So let me ask you this. Hypothetically, were Christopher Carlson to become the next governor of California, or had been the governor of California in 2018 as a Green Party candidate, what would that look like today?
Wow. I was ready to provide like party backbone analysis, talk about like how valuable we are as an interest to so many different groups, and that my pairing off with you during that election run kicked Marxists out of the Green Party because they were so upset that I hung out with a libertarian that they just like got so angry that they left.
Right.
Which,
yeah, our affiliation ruffled a lot of feathers.
More
but
serious.
That's what needs to happen. Shake it up, get the bad fruit out the tree.
Okay, so say you or I had been elected governor.
No, I want to talk about you being.
Okay, well, I think both of us would have taken more risks.
You're right about that. You're damn right about that.
Not that I'm heavily in favor of this kind of regulation, but since we are taxing cigarettes, we had a soda tax that got taken away from the ballot before it had a chance to reach the voters, because Governor Brown got threatened with Governor Newsom at like a dinner by soda executives, like Big Soda. And they were like, you're going to take the judge and you're going to have this taken off the ballot, or we're going to hurt your kids. And that's the part of politics that really scares me. Because when you want to make change, who's got your address? And is it a place to be afraid? And is it a place where you can suffer the consequences? Joe Biden doesn't have like any living family besides his son. Like throughout his whole process of trying to get more powerful, he paid a price.
He got a niece. He got family. He got
okay. Well, good. He's still under someone's thumb.
Yeah, of course.
So, Gavin has 5 beautiful daughters, I think, and like a son. Yeah. And when you put your family forward like that, you have to be very auspicious. You have to like be so conspicuous that you can't, if anything happens, you go straight to the people. So the most important thing would have been to open a direct channel of communication to the public through newspapers, through the internet, whatever.
Yes.
And keep them informed. And if I get too honest and something happens, then that could be a real defining moment for people. You can't really say you're going to be so transparent before you get sat down in the basement of the Capitol by the CIA, like Jesse Ventura had happen to him. But I would have accomplished some school reform by now, and it would have taken place because this transition is great. Would have started schools at 10 o'clock, given kids more sleep. They would have had more mental health. Probably would have fired most of the Department of Education.
I like how you talking already. Keep going.
Just like, because if we're working on a state-by-state basis and we're dependent on these massive, like subsidized, like government money involved in companies, or like, the government's not supposed to endorse an establishment of religion. So why would we allow them to endorse a company? Like, why would we let them get involved? Why are people's pensions tied up in the stock market?
Right.
Yeah. Where, for us to make meaningful change then and like divest the government from oil futures, that hurts people's retirement and takes away their pensions. That's fucked. And you know, it would have been helpful.
The thing is, it's so rigged, you're fucked either way. You know, you gotta cut it at some point. And you're right. If you or I were elected, we definitely would have been making more drastic changes. We would have been more courageous in making sure that these changes were done immediately versus 2 years, 4 years, 8 years down the line, the way that these politicians usually are asking for. So I got to say, with the whole family thing, that's what they want to use as kind of like a way to deter us from wanting to get involved, you know, as true revolutionaries, as people that are actually about, you know, wanting to have freedom. And transparency does work. But I mean, let's just be honest. If you're going to sit across from a table from a man who threatens your family, are you going to let him leave that table alive? I sure the hell am not.
Can you imagine?
Or what?
Have you been to the Capitol? Have you seen those golden bears in front of the governor's office?
What'd you say?
Have you seen the governor's office in the Capitol?
No, I haven't seen it, but
there's like these big golden bears on the outside of the door, and like a highway patrol officer, and like chambers on the way to the office. And I can just imagine like the governor strangling someone over his desk.
You damn Skippy.
And being like, I'm the governor. Right. You can ask me questions about it.
And I would tell the people on TV and my constituents at the news conference that this man threatened my life. He threatened my family's life. And he was threatening your life. Shit. I have to put him out of his misery. But hey, we need to get back to what really made America great, and that's resiliency. You know what I'm saying? Our nation's forefathers, black or white, didn't take shit from nobody. And I think we need to start getting back to that level of understanding once again. But anyways, I do appreciate you talking about, you know, your administration, what it would have been like had you become the next governor of California, because I would love to see it. Hopefully the people out there that are watching this video, they would love to see it, and they will motivate you to run again in the next election. You know, Gavin Newsom is being recalled, right?
Is he?
Yes, he is. There's a recall for Newsom. Woo!
I've been in the hospital.
Call Gavin, 2020.com. I was going to drop it later during the announcements, but all of y'all, if you watch it, please.
Oh, shit.
Recall Gavin Newsom's ass right now, okay? But yeah, Gavin Newsom is being recalled, and hopefully that'll open the door for a special election. And I hope that you would give us the honor of having an opportunity to vote for you. If not, run with me, you know, shit, so we can take back California together. But
so my plan is lieutenant governor in 2022, because it's a little less work, and it's
all right.
What you nominated me for.
Yes, I did. He took up my job.
And I had a little voice in my head that was like, maybe you should consider doing this before. But I've had to tell the Green Party I'm harmless, you know, this time around. They were really nervous because my slogan was "Get Wet, California," that I was a stranger. But I would run for governor again if there were a special election next year.
All right.
Because if you're running and Gavin's on the table and it's a debate in an open forum, that would be hilarious. And like, we're familiar to the media, we've got a precedent. And it's really important because you and I are independent and we know each other well, and we kind of subsist through the community. It's not so much trust, but we can offer our own things to the narrative that aren't, you know, when we got interviewed by LA Times or whatever, they were trying to control the conversation by like saying, let's talk about homelessness. And nothing's been done about homelessness.
Nothing at all.
Jack shit.
Jack shit. The people in California should be enraged. All of the
mayor is supposed to be on the council for it?
Ridiculous. Yeah. Nothing has been done in Sacramento to address it. You know? And that's in the governor's own neighborhood. So it is sickening. Hopefully, again, people out there, if you're watching this, make sure to connect with Christopher Carlson on Facebook, on Instagram, and donate to the man, because he just had a baby. He just had a baby, and we try to get him fully funded so he can run a well-organized campaign for governor of California in 2022, if not sooner. Okay.
It helps to work together like we did.
Candidate. What's that?
It helps like we did. We were helping. We were running it.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got a lot more exposure working together. You know, we got my man. He brought out his puppet, Cabbage.
Hey, my campaign manager didn't talk back.
All right. Exactly. Shit. And we had some crazy adventures and stories, but hopefully we'll write a book about it or a movie or some shit someday.
I'll do my book sooner than later, because if we have it before the election, we can sell it at the places.
That is true. That would be cool. Christopher Carlson, ladies and gentlemen.
Nicholas Wildstar.
Governor Carlson. Before I let you out of here, man, I like to switch up things a little bit, make it a little bit more lighthearted before I let my guests go. Ask them some crazy ass rambunctious question to kind of either shatter the stereotypes or show some commonalities that we have as human beings. So with that being said, we all love to eat, you know, and
we love what?
We all love to eat. Like what the hell you doing right now? Shit. So stuff our face full of food. So one thing that is universal is everybody loves chicken. It don't matter what type of chicken it is. It's different kind of dishes. You got Iran or Israel or some shit like that. Portuguese, different kinds of chicken. So I'm going to ask you, Christopher. Do you like your chicken?
Turkey. It's got to be turkey.
You got to answer.
I'm a hormonal eater.
Oh, okay.
I subscribe to hormonal-based nutrition, and chicken doesn't have tryptophan in it. So if I'm fucking poultry, I try to fuck with turkey.
So, he's getting away from that one, y'all.
But if you ask me how I like my turkey cooked.
Okay. Put it to turkey there. How do you like your turkey cooked? Shit.
I like it cooked anyway. I've never really had fried turkey, so maybe that's something I can try.
Oh my God. See, that's a Wisconsin thing. You go to Wisconsin, fried turkey all day, every day.
They have turkey legs like at the fair. I haven't even had one of those at the fair.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you got to barbecue those things all day.
Yeah, it's the one meat I didn't pick up after I came back from veganism. And Allie eats it at every restaurant. I'm like, why do we even bother going to different restaurants? You're just going to order the chicken.
Right.
It's the same meal. I don't know whether salt. Like, no, but I liked popcorn chicken a lot.
All right.
Popcorn chicken was my jam when I was in high school.
For sure. That's something easy and quick. And I think everybody loves a bit of fried chicken, KFC, and popcorn chicken. And all that good shit. I'm sure she's gonna love it one day. She's gonna
yeah. I'm not gonna be able to convince her. Chicken is cheap and it's pretty good. It tastes good.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a farm, you get one chicken that's gonna turn into like 12 chickens. Yeah, quick you can say chicken probably, but yeah, it produces eggs. You know, of course, meat, fowl, all that good stuff. Get a turkey. You might have some big ass turkey eggs. I don't know about that. But again, Christopher Carlson, I appreciate you for being here and talking to me because I asked some crazy ass questions. None of my guests ever know what the hell I'm going to say. So thank you for asking each and every one of them, my man.
Be blessed, man. That was great.
God bless you. And God bless you, little lady. Mwah. Governor Wildstar loves you. Yes, he does. And I'm sure all the viewers out there love her too. And they love you, Christopher Carlson. You take care.
Thank you, Wildstar.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Didn't mean to kick you out, but thank you.
Kick me out. We're over time.
Yeah, let me make some shout outs to my announcements right quick and sign out of here. And like I said, I'll let you go take care of your little one. All right. Much love to you, brother.
Much love.
All right, you guys, that again was Christopher Carlson, former Green Party candidate for Governor of California. Please be sure to connect with him again right here on Facebook at Year 50 LE. and Instagram at year51LE. Maybe we could get them on next time and ask them what the hell that means. Or you can connect with them, ask them your damn self, all right? But like I said, you guys, we do have a recall going on here in California. So if you live in California, go to recallgavin2020.com. You can print out your own petition, circulate it. We need wet signatures, signed on the dotted line, damn near 3 million of those before November 17th. We can get it done as soon as possible. We just need you to get involved, okay? So again, if you want to get involved in a recall of Gavin Newsom, he's just an atrocious governor. The list goes on about the awfulness that he has done in the year that he is a little bit over a year that he's been in office. So go to recallgavin2020.com and let's get him out. And hopefully get me in, or my man Christopher Carlson, like I said. And please definitely be sure to tune in to my next show, which I will be having Chase Tkach. I believe I'm saying that right. Chase Tkach, also known as adult film star Molly Smash. She will be here to talk about on Thursday, 6:25, 3 p.m. Pacific time, to talk about balancing her career and also being the chairperson for the Libertarian Party of Orleans County out there in New York. So please be sure to tune in Thursday. Chase Cash, aka Molly Smash, right here with your boy Governor Wildstar. Till next time, y'all. Much love, light, and liberty. Peace. Hold on, I gotta hold it up there.